Good morning. The topic for today is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. There are a number of conspiracy theories floating around these days. I'm not in support of any of them. But at the same time, the official version, the one that we're always told, does not hold water.
Well, how would you describe the official version, John?
Well, imagine if the public were to be asked the following questions by way of a plebiscite, where they're given a choice between two options. Which would you prefer? To maintain your present way of life, or suffer the loss of somewhere between 1/4 to 1/2% of the population? So, what would the likely answer be? What would be the response of those who you know? What would be the response of the rest of the population? Regardless of what your answer is, yay or nay, we were not given that opportunity, since we were never asked. And when you think of the incredible degree of uniformity across the globe of the response to this pandemic, it's clear that the latter option was chosen for all of us.
What is the motivation for all of this?
Well, I'm glad you asked, lovely lady. It's a very good question. Is it that they care so much about us that they cannot bear to lose a single one of us? I don't know, but I doubt it. Another issue is that all this perfectly coincides with the greatest leap forward in technology, which is culminating with this introduction of 5G, which is putting all the pieces together. On the one hand, and on the greatest, and in the meantime, we have the greatest financial bubble ever recorded. So the media presents us with two scenarios at the outset, those being vaccine and herd immunity. The arguments for vaccine is that the herd immunity option will follow the path of the Spanish flu, which resulted in something like between 50 to 100 million people being killed, which was actually greater than the death toll of World War I. However, when we look at the data, we see that the deaths are overwhelmingly among those with prior conditions, specifically cancer, diabetes, and respiratory diseases.
Could that help us then in some way to form a strategy?
One would think so. But in all these months, have they ever talked about what proportion of the population has those comorbidities? If it was very low, we could isolate those groups from the general population and get on with business and do our best to accelerate the spread of the disease so that we could reach herd immunity more quickly, which is approximately 60 to 70% of the population. But once again, this is never discussed.
Is there not some degree of disagreement between the experts on how to deal with all of this? Certainly there must be.
One would think, when you're dealing with something so complex and science being so, diverse, that there would be. But nowhere do we see a discussion in the public media, on the right or the left, between scientists presenting alternative views. Instead, we are presented with only one perspective, that being locking everything down until such time as we can effectively inoculate the population with a vaccine. In the meantime, we are constantly chastised like little children for not wearing our masks and not observing social distancing. So those are my thoughts, and I'm looking forward to finding out what yours are on this topic. Good morning. Thanks again. Bye.